Hello, everybody. One of my favorite things to do at the beginning of a new year is to look ahead at the year in film. Look at the movies that are coming out that have release dates, the movies that aren't confirmed with release dates but very well might be coming out, and just make a catalog of all the things I'm excited for. So I figured I would, as I did last year, I would share that list with all of you. We'll start by going month by month, and then we'll get into some of the movies that are kind of more questionable, but very well may be releasing in 2026. And I have to keep this in a window because I don't know how OBS works. Now, at the time of filming this, we're about halfway through January, so I've seen a few of these movies. I've already seen Dead Man's Wire, which came out on the 9th, the new Gus Van Sant film with Bill Skarsgård and Coleman Domingo and Al Pacino. I really love that movie. It's really like darkly funny and like morally complicated, and Bill Skarsgård is great in it. I really recommend that one. And also, I highly recommend 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. And please see it in theaters because I don't think it's doing as well as the last one. And it's just as good, really. I mean, it's a bit smaller scale. It's kind of this weird side story between the Jimmies, who are the cult who was introduced at the end of the last one, and Ray Fiennes' weird Doctor Man. It's a really neat film, and more people should go see it, please. And I also watched The Rip, which is a straight to Netflix movie directed by Joe Carnahan, who did, The Gray and Cop Shop and Narc. Like he's one of these directors who he doesn't make like amazing masterpieces or anything, but I always find his movies really entertaining. And this is a really fun movie. It's got a real nice kind of like twisty plot. It's got Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, and Matt Damon is like especially good at it. I really like him when he gets to play, people who are of questionable moral content like this. He doesn't get to play a lot of bad guys, but I really think that's kind of what he's best at. And it also has Stephen Yen, Tiana Taylor, Catalina Sandino Moreno, Scott Adkins, Kyle Chandler. It's a good cast and it's a fun movie. Other than that, we have Primate, which opened on the 9th, which I haven't gotten to see yet. Evil Monkey movie that I've heard really good things about at a Fantastic Fest. We got Obex, which is from the director of Strawberry Mansion, which I didn't see, but I heard was good, and someday I will see it. That's not playing anywhere around here. Probably got very limited theatrical release, but that might be on streaming soon, so I would look for that. It's about a guy who travels into a computer game to save his dog. It got really good reviews at a Sundance. We've got on the 27th coming up, we have Untitled Home Invasion Romance, which is the actual title of the movie. A dark comedy about a guy who fakes a home invasion to save his marriage, directed by Jason Biggs, which is interesting. I haven't seen a trailer for this or anything. It might be bad, but I'm keeping an eye on it. And then something I'm very much looking forward to at the end of the month is Send Help, the new film by Sam Raimi with Dylan O'Brien playing Rachel McAdams' shitty boss, and they got stuck on an island together, and the roles kind of reverse. It looks real fun. It looks like kind of a return to the tone he was doing on like Drag Me to Hell. So that should be a good time. All right, then when we get into February, we have on the 6th Dracula, a Love Tale, a new take on Dracula by Luc Besson, starring Caleb Landry Jones as Dracula, who I think is a very underrated actor, and he doesn't get as much of a chance to show off as he should. So I'm just excited to see him play Dracula. It might be terrible. I know it came out in France last year, and I've heard nothing about it, which is probably a bad sign. But even if it's bad, it could still be interesting. And at this point, it may not even get a wide release in the U.S., but we'll see. Then on the 13th, we have the new adaptation of Wuthering Heights from Emerald Fennell, who did Saltburn and Promising Young Woman, Margot Robbie, Jacob Elordi, Hong Chow, original songs by Charlie XCX, including that really cool one with John Cale, if you didn't hear that. I love that track. It'll probably be like a big cultural thing, potentially in a way that's annoying. But, like Saltburn was like a big cultural thing, and I wasn't annoyed by that. I was pretty entertained by it. So, I normally wouldn't be the target audience for this movie, but because it's Emerald Fennell, and I've really liked her past double films, I'll definitely check it out. Also on the 13th, it's going to be a packed day. We have a new movie from Bart Layden, who I think is one of the more underrated filmmakers working today. He directed this great documentary called The Imposter, as well as a really good kind of true crime movie called American Animals. And this has a pretty huge cast. It's got Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Barry Keoghan, Keoghan, whatever, Halle Berry, Monica Barbaro, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Nick Nolte. It's got music by Blank Mass from Fuck Buttons, and also he recently joined Editors for some reason. I don't know what direction that band is going in, but yeah, I just love Bart Layton's movies, so I'm sure this will be a good time. And I'm just proud of him that he's reached the point in his career where he can get like two of the Avengers to be in one of his movies. That's pretty neat. Then we have also on the 13th the first film in about 10 years from Gore Verbinski, who his last film I'm pretty sure was A Cure for Wellness like a million years ago, and now he's coming back with this movie called Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, starring Sam Rockwell, Michael Pena, Zazie Beetz, Juno Temple. It got really great reviews at a Fantastic Fest. It's supposed to be a super funny, super entertaining movie. I think there is a trailer out for it, but I purposefully haven't watched it because I've been told this is like a really crazy film, and it's best to go in knowing as little as possible. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's one of my more anticipated movies of the year. As is Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, which is also supposedly on the 13th, but that's the date it's going wide in Canada. So I'm not even totally convinced it's going to be going wide in the US, but I really hope it is because I want to see it so bad. Like I'm a huge fan of the writer director star of it, Matt Johnson, who did The Dirties and Operation Avalanche and Blackberry recently. And it's based on this TV show that's really hard to find. I've been watching it on like the Internet Archive. Like I don't know where you're supposed to watch it, but I've been really enjoying it. I mean, basically the plot of the TV show is they're in a band called Nirvana the band. And they don't even like know that there's another famous band called Nirvana. Apparently, they just think it's like a cool band name they came up with, and they're trying to play this venue in Toronto called the Rivoli, and it's just every episode is about them trying to get a show at the Rivoli and failing. And I just love that so far, at least anyway, it's a show about a band, and I've heard literally no music. Like now and then, the guy on the show who's not Matt Johnson, I can't remember his name, I'm sorry, will like play some little thing on the piano or something. But like, I have no idea what their band's music even sounds like. It's a real funny show, and I think the movie will probably be wonderful. I heard great things about it when it played film festivals last year. I think it has like a time travel component to it, which sounds really fun. So yeah, I hope I get to see it in theaters. If not, I will do what I have to do to watch it on streaming. On the 27th of February, we got Scream 7. I haven't been a huge fan of the past couple of Scream films. I mean, they've been fun, but they've also been very flawed. But this time, Kevin Williamson, the writer of Screams 1, 2, and 4, is coming back not only to write it, but also to direct it. You're also getting the old composer back, Marco Beltrami. And Matthew Lillard is going to be in it in some capacity. I'm hoping it's not just some little cameo like they did with, some of the older killers in Scream 5. I'm hoping that he's the bad guy, that Stu's back, because there's always been this question about whether or not he actually died at the end of the first Scream, or if he was just badly injured. I mean, he got a TV dropped on his head, so there was no like 100% confirmation that, oh, that character's dead, and we know he's going to be in it somehow. So we'll see. And then also on the 27th, at the end of the month, we have In the Blink of an Eye, which is the new sci-fi epic from Andrew Stanton. And if you'll remember, the last time he did a sci-fi epic, it was John Carter, which was a notoriously huge bomb, like one of the biggest losses for Hollywood ever at the time. Um, And, he just has bad luck with these things because this one is going straight to Hulu. I don't think it's even getting a theatrical release, but it looks pretty interesting. It has Kate McKinnon, Rashida Jones, Daveed Diggs in it. It's from the writer of Spaceman, aka that movie where Adam Sandler is hanging out with a giant psychic space spider. Uh, so yeah, I think it has potential. All right, March we have less, but a few things. We have Hoppers, the new film from Pixar, which is about beavers. It has Meryl Streep in it as a butterfly. Yeah, it doesn't look great. It looks kind of beneath Pixar's usual standard. But what can you do? Then we have The Bride, also on the 6th, Maggie Gyllenhaal's second film after The Lost Daughter. It's like a Gangland Chicago version of Bride of Frankenstein with Jesse Buckley and Christian Bale. And I should like this because I like the people in the cast. Maggie Gyllenhaal's first movie, I didn't love it as much as some other people, but I thought it had a lot of good elements to it and showed a lot of potential. And, Bride of Frankenstein is one of my favorite movies ever, so I should be excited for this, but the trailers just look so terrible. Like it looks like it's gonna be like an astoundingly bad movie, but I would love to be proven wrong. I'm really hoping the trailers are misrepresentative of what the movie's actually like. Then on the 20th, we have another movie I'm kind of cautiously excited about, which is Project Hail Mary. It's basically repeating the formula of The Martian with a book by Andy Weir, a screenplay by Drew Goddard. The difference is that instead of Ridley Scott, it's being directed by Phil Lord and Chris Miller. And, I've always enjoyed their stuff. They haven't, they were like involved in a bunch of things like the Spider-Verse movies and the Lego movies, but they haven't like directed something in a long time. Because, I mean, they did do a lot of work on Solo, but they were ultimately fired from that, and Ron Howard was given sole director credit. So I'm curious to see if they can come back with something really good and get their careers back on track, because that would make me happy. And then we have Ready or Not 2, Here They Come. The first Ready or Not, it wasn't like an amazing film, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a very entertaining movie. And I'm mostly excited to see this because they got the name correct. Like, it used to drive me insane that, it's like, Now You See Me Too wasn't called Now You Don't. Like that used to drive me crazy, and they finally did it. I think with the fourth one, they finally called it "Now You See Me, Now You Don't." And this time, they're doing it right away. They're doing "Ready or Not." Here they come, like right away. So I respect that. And also, David Cronenberg is in it as like a bad guy, I think. So that could be fun. All right, my throat. All right. In April, we've got some potentially cool stuff. We've got The Drama, which is one of my most anticipated movies of the year, just because it's from the writer and director of Dream Scenario. And there's a trailer out for it, and I think it looks like it has a lot of potential. It's got Zendaya and Robert Pattinson as a couple who are about to be married, and complexities ensue. We've got Lee Cronin's The Mummy on the 17th. Yet they're trying to reboot The Mummy again, and this is not, they've. I think they've confirmed that they're working on another Mummy movie with Brendan Fraser, but this is, like a reboot of like the Boris Karloff style Mummy. It was previously called The Resurrected, which I think is a better title because, like, who knows who Lee Cronin is? I mean, I do, but most people don't. But yeah, he directed The Hole in the Ground and Evil Dead Rise. And so, I haven't seen Hole in the Ground, but I've heard really good things about it. Evil Dead Rise was really fun, so I'm pretty confident that this will at least be an entertaining movie. Then we've got a new movie from Ben Wheatley called Normal, which, Ben Wheatley is not like my favorite director, but it sounds like a fun movie. It's from the writer of the John Wick and Nobody movies, and it's got Bob Odenkirk as a sheriff who finds out that a small town is full of a bunch of evil people, and there's like underground criminal stuff going on, and then he murders everybody. And Henry Winkler's the mayor. I don't know. It sounds like it could be fun. There's a teaser out for it. It's you know, we'll see. And then at the end of the month, on the 24th, we're getting the new movie by David Lowery, who's the director of The Green Knight, The Old Man and the Gun. I haven't loved all of his movies, and based on what I've seen of this movie, I'm not sure it's going to be my jam. It's about a pop star who's like, having some kind of mental breakdown or something. I think it has new original music in it. So, yeah, I wasn't sure about it after watching the trailer, but we'll see. All right, May, we are finally getting the release of Andy Serkis's Animal Farm, which he's been working on for like 10 years. And he released the trailer for it, and it looks terrible, which makes me sad. But, maybe if I hear that it's better than the trailer indicated it would be, I'll go check it out. Then we have Hokum, which is the new film from Damien McCarthy, who is the director of Oddity, which was a really interesting little horror movie a couple of years ago. Um, Adam Scott's in it. There's a trailer out for it. It doesn't tell you much about the plot, but I think it looks like a lot of fun. Mortal Kombat 2. Um, they're correcting the main issue with the last Mortal Kombat film where they just didn't base it around a character anybody cared about. They just invented this new character and he was kind of bland. This time it's based around, Carl Urban's Johnny Cage. I think, there are typos in the thing I wrote about it. Who cares? Why am I drawing attention to it? But, it could be fun. It could be fun. We'll see. Poetic License. Maud Apatow's directorial debut. Judd Apatow's daughter. She was in Boyhood, right? I think. Uh, and her mom's in it, Leslie Mann. It's also got Cooper Hoffman, Macy Stella for My Old Ass, and Method Man. Everybody's gonna make fun of it, for nepotism reasons, but I've heard good things about it coming out of film festivals, so I am gonna keep my eye on it. Um, Potentially the film I'm most excited for, or certainly up there, and this is just based on word of mouth, is this movie Obsession, which is coming out on the 15th. It's directed by Curry Barker, who's a YouTuber. He directed this like ultra low budget movie Milk and Cereal and put it directly on YouTube. And it's a very low budget immature film, but I thought it showed a lot of potential and I'm really excited to see what he can do with like an actual budget and an actual crew. And I know Andy Richter's in it, and the idea of Andy Richter being in like an insane horror movie just appeals to me. It might just be a cameo or something. I don't know. I know nothing about this movie, and I could know more about this movie, but I am choosing to go in knowing as little as I possibly can because I've heard it's a very surprising film. Then on the 22nd, we've got the first Star Wars movie in a hot minute, The Mandalorian and Grogu. I am struggling my way through the third season of The Mandalorian, trying to get caught up. It's I'm not one of these people who thinks it's like all the Star Wars stuff is terrible now, but it's definitely been a little much. It's been, very kind of oversaturated. So, but it has been the first film in several years, and I do enjoy the characters, so I'm sure it'll be fine. And then on the 22nd, we're finally getting Boots Riley's second movie. His first film was Sorry to Bother You. It's got Demi Moore, who I've been curious to see how she would follow up her kind of comeback with the substance. It's also got Kiki Palmer, Naomi Ackie, Lakeith Stanfield. I know nothing about the plot. I don't really want to know anything about the plot. I'm sure it's going to be super entertaining. June, we've got Masters of the Universe. I have no interest in it at all, and it has Jared Leto as Skeletor, so that's not a good sign. The only reason it's on this list is it's directed by Travis Knight, whose movies I like. He did Kubo and the Two Strings, and he's worked on a lot of Leica's movies, as like a writer and producer. And he did Bumblebee, which I thought was a surprisingly fun movie. So who knows? It might be entertaining. Disclosure Day, the new Spielberg movie. You've probably seen the trailer for this. It's been out for a while. I'm very excited to see him return to Aliens after so long. Not that I'm the hugest fan of his War of the Worlds movie, but it definitely has some great moments to it. And I mean, also, fucking Close Encounters. Toy Story 5, why? You know? It's like, but I said the same thing about Toy Story 4. When Toy Story 4 got announced, I was like, well, 3 was a perfect ending, so why would you do this? And then Toy Story 4 came out fine. And, it was a good movie, and they took the franchise in a good direction. And I was like, okay, they pulled it off. They actually delivered another ending that actually, is satisfying and caps it off well. So now they're just playing with fire and trying to do the same thing twice, and I just hope they can pull it off again. And it's directed by Andrew Stanton, who did Wall-E. It's the first Toy Story film he's directed. He wrote, he's been writing for the series like all along, but you know, um, I'm afraid, but I'll try it. Supergirl, the follow-up to Superman. It's gonna have Jason Momoa playing Lobo in it. It's directed by Craig Gillespie, who did I, Tonya and Lars and the Real Girl. I mean, James Gunn's Superman was wonderful. It was super fun. So if it can continue to capture that tone, it's gonna be great. July, The Odyssey, the new freaking. I don't need to talk about The Odyssey. It's the new Christopher Nolan movie. Everybody on Earth is gonna watch it. I am also gonna watch it. Cut Off. This is the first of potentially two films next year, written and directed by Jonah Hill, which is a follow up to Mid 90s, which I thought was a really nice movie. And this has him and Kristen Wiig as wealthy people who get cut off by their parents, played by Bette Midler and Nathan Lane. It sounds, just kind of like a kind of a standard family comedy, but who knows? Then we're getting a new Evil Dead movie, Evil Dead Burn, on the 24th of July from the director of Infested, which I heard good things about, but I didn't watch it because it's about spiders, and I don't like spiders. Though I guess that's sort of the point. And then we're getting the fourth Marvel Spider Man film, Brand New Day, directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, who did Shang-Chi as well as Short Term 12, which is definitely my favorite film of his. It has Tremel Tillman in it from Severance, which, he's so good on that show. I've been hoping that he could like cross over and have a really cool film career. So that's starting to happen. So I'm looking forward to that. It is also going to be the return of, oh my god, what's his fucking name? Um, the Punisher from the Daredevil universe. My fucking brain doesn't work. He was on The Walking Dead. My fucking brain. And they're also following up on Scorpion, which is, great because they teased that at the end of the first movie and it was like 10 years ago and it was like, are you ever going to come back to that and pay that off? And now they're gonna. So that's nice. In August, on the 14th, we have Flowervale Street, the new film from David Robert Mitchell, who did It Follows, which I loved, and Under the Silver Lake, which I did not love. I don't know what it's about. I've heard it has something to do with dinosaurs. I'm excited to see it. We've also got one of my most anticipated films of the year, The Rivals of Amaziah King, with Matthew McConaughey and Kurt Russell. It's the second film from the guy who directed this really great small little independent movie called The Vast of Night. I've been, waiting for him to follow that movie up, and now he's finally doing it. And it got like amazing reviews at a South by Southwest. It's supposed to be like this crazy genre mashup and this really unique movie. So I'm very excited to finally get to watch that. We got a new Ridley Scott movie called The Dog Stars. This is him coming back to sci-fi. It has Jacob Elordi, Margaret Qualley, Josh Brolin, Guy Pearce, Benedict Wong. It's based on a book that I heard was pretty good. And then we've got Coyote vs. Acme, which is from the writer of May December, which I thought was strange, Sammy Birch. But this was that movie that Warner Brothers, they tried to bury it, they tried to cancel it and just throw it in the garbage, and now it's got alternative distribution. So got to go out there and support it. And after all of these years and all of this weird coverage, I'm just excited to see what the movie is actually like. All right, then in September, we just got a couple. We've got a new film from David Leitch, who co created John Wick, directed Atomic Blonde and Bullet Train, with Nicholas Hoult, Pete Davidson, Zoe Kravitz, John C. Reilly, Christian Slater. It's a heist movie. I do enjoy heist movies. And then also on the 11th, we've got the new take on Clayface, written but not directed by Mike Flanagan, but it's directed by a guy named James Watkins, who did a bunch of movies that I've heard are good, none of which I've seen. Eden Lake, The Woman in Black, and the Speak No Evil English remake. Um, so yeah, once again, I haven't seen any of those films, but I've heard good things, so I think he'll be a dependable director. And Mike wanted to direct it himself, but he's working on, the next Exorcist film, kind of trying to course correct from where David Gordon Green left it. Even though I didn't think David Gordon Green's take on it was all that bad, to be honest. And he's also working on a mini series, I believe, based on Carrie. So he's doing stuff. Digger. This is another one of my most anticipated movies of the year. This is a new movie from Alejandro Inarritu, however the fuck you say it, and a bunch of the writers from Birdman are coming back. It stars Tom Cruise as a guy who dances around with a shovel. I don't know what he does. They've released a teaser for this, and it's literally just Tom Cruise dancing around with a shovel for like 10 seconds, and I love it for some reason. I'm excited. I'm really excited to see what the fuck this is. It's also got Sandra Hüller, John Goodman, Michael Stuhlbarg, Jesse Plemons, Riz Ahmed. It's a dark comedy. We don't know much about it beyond that. I know it is going to play in like IMAX theaters, which just, it's like, I can't wait to watch Tom Cruise dance around with a shovel in IMAX. It's going to be great. Um, the Social Reckoning on the 9th. This is a weird one. This is a sequel to The Social Network, but with a completely new cast. It's got Jeremy Strong playing Mark Zuckerberg this time. It's also got Jeremy Allen White, Mikey Madison, Bill Burr, Woonmi Masaki, Billy Manguson, and Betty Gilpin. So good cast. And Aaron Sorkin, he's a pretty good director. I liked his movie about the Chicago Seven a couple years ago. But yeah, I don't know why he recast all these parts when it was cast so well the first time. Just bring them all back. That seems like an odd choice to me. But what can you do? Street Fighter on the 16th. It's probably going to be bad, but it has David Dastmalchian as M. Bison. It's got 50 Cent as Balrog. Like, it's going to be bad, but, like, the Street Fighter from, like, 94 is one of my favorite action movies ever. You know? I mean, largely because of Raul Julia as M. Bison, but I just fucking love that movie. So even if this movie is stupid, there's a good chance I'll enjoy it. And then we've got Remain, which is a weird looking new movie from M. Night Shyamalan. It's based on an idea he created with Nicholas Sparks, the uh, the romance writer, and it is a supernatural romantic thriller starring Jake Gyllenhaal. I needed another drink. All right. Then on the 6th of November, we've got a biopic of Jimmy Stewart starring the guy who plays Archie on Riverdale and Jason Alexander as Louis B. Mayer. That's probably not going to be a good movie. I might not even see it, but I'm amazed that it exists, and I really want to see a trailer for it. Then we've got Ebenezer, A Christmas Carol on the 13th, which, we definitely have enough movies of A Christmas Carol, but this one is directed by Ty West. It's going to star Johnny Depp, so he hasn't starred in a movie in a while. It's also got Andrea Riseborough, Tremel Tillman again, Ian McKellen, Rupert Grint, Daisy Ridley. So, like most other directors doing this, I would have no interest. But Ty West, is a very reliable filmmaker, so I think he might bring something interesting to it. And then we've got Madden, the biopic of John Madden from David O. Russell with Nicolas Cage over here playing John Madden. Also, Christian Bale, Catherine Hahn, John Mulaney. They've released a teaser for it. It's going to be hard for me to get past just seeing Nick Cage in a bunch of makeup. It's like I'm not fully convinced I can be fully like immersed into believing he's John Madden, but either way, it's going to be fun. All right, and then in December we've got another Jumanji movie. Like those movies are fun. I'll watch another one. Avengers Doomsday. Gotta watch Avengers Doomsday. Also, Dune Part 3. I've loved part one and part two, so fuck it. And then uh, the one original IP on this list is Werewolf, spelled with a U, which is the new movie from Robert Eggers. It's got a script by John, however the fuck you say that. I don't fuck it. He's Norwegian. He co-wrote a bunch of songs with Bjork and Liam and the Northmen. So he's a really talented writer, and it brings back a bunch of the people from Nosferatu, like Aaron Taylor Johnson, Lily Rose Depp, Willem Dafoe, Ralph Ineson, and as the name would imply, it is about a werewolf. So, those are all the movies that are definitely going to happen that have dates right now. As far as movies that might happen, uh, are we going to get a sequel to Coco? Supposedly, Pixar is working on that. Are we going to get a new Airbud movie? I know we would all be real excited to get a new Airbud movie. Are we going to see a Unabomber movie starring Jacob Tremblay? Apparently, that is in development. Are we going to get a movie based on the Watch Dogs video game? Supposedly, that has been filmed. I think it's in post production. Terrence Malick's movie about Jesus, he's been editing it for like 2 or 3 years now. Is that finally going to come out? Sharknado Origins. Ordinarily I wouldn't be interested in a Sharknado movie, but if this is going to take us back to the beginning and show us how the Sharknado formed in the first place, I might be interested in learning the origins of the Sharknado. District 10, every couple years, there's this big news story where it's just like, it's official, Neil Blomkamp is working on District 10, and it just never seems to happen. So I heard another story like that last year, so maybe it'll happen this year. Probably not. Apparently, Trey Parker and Matt Stone filmed an entire movie starring Kendrick Lamar. Is that going to come out? And is there going to be a new movie by Jordan Peele? Jordan Peele originally had a film on the schedule for 2024. It got moved to 2026 because of all the strikes and everything, and now it's been removed from the calendar entirely. So is it coming out this year? Is it coming out next year? We will see. Now, here are all the things I'm looking forward to that are probably coming out this year, but do not have release dates at this time. We've got The Adventures of Cliff Booth by David Fincher. This is a sequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, with Brad Pitt's character coming back. But Quentin Tarantino wrote it. He won't direct it because he's got his weird 10 movie thing, and he can only make one more movie based on rules that were made by him and enforced by nobody but him. So I don't know. But, David Fincher is a good replacement if you can't direct it yourself for whatever weird ass reason. Timothy Oliphant's character is also coming back, which is cool because he had a very small part in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but it was one of my favorite scenes in the movie. So nice to potentially see him get more to do. And it's going to be a Netflix movie, might get like a small theatrical release. Then we have the new film from Ben Affleck, Animals. And I've chosen to represent this with this amazing, horribly photoshopped picture of Ben Affleck and a goose. This is the first movie Ben Affleck's directed since Live by Night, which was like a decade ago, like way back in 2016. And that movie wasn't that good, but he did have some good directorial efforts. So, I'm excited to see if he can get back to that level. It stars Ben himself as a candidate for mayor in LA whose son is kidnapped. It's got Gillian Armstrong, Kerry Washington, and Stephen Yen, and it's also going straight to Netflix. Then we've got a new film by Luca Guadagnino, who I really don't like most of his movies, but now and then, like Bones and All. Basically, I really loved Bones and All, and I wish I had because that kind of makes me every time Luca has a new movie coming out, I always think, oh, maybe I'll like this one too, and I usually don't. But this one stars Andrew Garfield as OpenAI CEO Sam Altman and centers on his controversial firing and rehiring in 2023. So a movie right now about AI and the business of AI. It is certainly an intriguing and timely subject. And it's got a cool cast. It has Monica Barbaro, it has Yura Borisov from Minora, it has Cooper Hoffman, Jason Schwartzman, Chris O'Dowd, Mark Rylance, who delivered his best performance ever in Bones and All, in my opinion, and also Ike Barinholtz, who, isn't like my favorite comedian or anything. I've always, thought he was pretty funny, but I'm excited because in this he's playing Elon Musk, and like just the thought of that guy as Elon Musk is just inherently funny to me. Like it is this is not going to be a dignified portrait of Elon Musk. All right, then we've got The Backrooms by Kane Parsons. So this is an A24 movie with Chiwetel Ejiofor, Renate Reinsva, and Mark Duplass being released. It's just cool because he's like this 20-year-old guy who was making creepypasta backroom shorts on YouTube, and now it's gotten to the point where he's making an A24 movie with like Academy Award nominees, and I'm curious to see if he can translate his vision from these like viral shorts into a movie of merit. It's exciting. Then we've got a new Bad Lieutenant movie, Bad Lieutenant Tokyo by Takashi Miike, which it's always interesting. These Bad Lieutenant movies, they never have any connection to each other. It's just like now and then somebody will write a crazy cop script and be like, let's call this a Bad Lieutenant movie. So Bad Lieutenant over here with Harvey Keitel, that was a crazy movie. And then Bad Lieutenant Port of Call, New Orleans with Nicolas Cage was also an insane movie, maybe even more insane. I mean, definitely more insane. And then this new one is done by Takashi Miike, whose movies are always super insane. So I think he's a good fit for this weird franchise, and I'm curious to see what he does with it. Now we got a new movie by Tony Gilroy, Behemoth. It's about a cellist, I guess, with Pedro Pascal, Eva Victor, Olivia Wilde, Matthew Lillard, and Will Arnett. It's cool that Matthew Lillard is like having this nice comeback moment. He was in those fucking Five Nights at Freddy's movies, which I haven't seen, but it's just good he's getting himself out there. But yeah, this is probably going to be boring, but I thought I would put it on the list because there is always a chance that it won't be boring. Then we got a new movie by Pedro Almodovar, Bitter Christmas. Um, no real information, but it's a Pedro Almodovar movie. It'll probably be pretty good. I want to see what Pedro Almodovar will do with a Christmas movie. Could be interesting. I don't know. Then we got a new movie by Steven Soderbergh, who had two films come out last year, Presents, which I liked very much, and Black Bag, which I was kind of mixed on. But this is a movie called The Christophers, which is about the children of a famous artist who hire a forger. I wrote, hire a forget, but that's not a thing. They hire a forger to finish their father's pieces so that they can sell them because I guess he's dying or he's dead or something. And the children are played by James Corden and Jessica Gunning from Baby Reindeer. So that sounds bizarre. Like, ordinarily, I would have no interest in seeing anything with James Corden in it, but the fact that James Corden and Steven Soderbergh are working together, I find that like really intriguing and strange. And then Ian McKellen plays the artist man. It's written by Ed Solomon, who teamed up with Steven Soderbergh on No Sudden Move a couple years ago, which was a pretty decent movie. And it played in some film festivals last year, and it got a really interesting reception because it got very good reviews. It has like a 90 something on Rotten Tomatoes. But then all the people I heard from who are just like normal people who attended the screenings said that it was really boring. So I don't know. We'll see. Then we've got the new film from Michael Sarnoski, The Death of Robin Hood. So this is the guy who directed Pig and A Quiet Place Day One. Stars Hugh Jackman as an older version of Robin Hood. It's also got Jodie Comer, Bill Skarsgård, and Murray Bartlett. There's a trailer out for it. It looks pretty interesting. I ordinarily, Robin Hood is, it's like, Christmas Carol, where it's like I feel like I've seen enough Robin Hood movies. But the fact that this is made by the guy who made Pig, I am automatically required to check this out, and it's also being put out by A24. So I trust him. Then we've got a new movie by Ruben Ostlund. The Entertainment System is Down. He's the director of a bunch of movies that I've heard are really good that I haven't seen, like Force Majeure, The Square, and Triangle of Sadness. And it's about passengers who are on a long flight and the plane's entertainment system breaks down and everybody starts going insane, which sounds like a very entertaining premise. It's got Keanu Reeves, Kirsten Dunst, Daniel Bruhl, Samantha Morton, Nicholas Braun, Julie Delpy. It has some international release dates right now, but the US release date has not been announced, but it will be distributed by A24. Then we've got Exit 8, which is a Japanese film based on a video game that I've played. And this video game is basically you just walk through this subway tunnel over and over and over, and if you notice any abnormalities, if anything's wrong with the tunnel, you turn back and walk the other way. And if there's nothing wrong with the tunnel, you walk forward. And this is how eventually you escape the subway. And so, this like a game that you can complete in like, 15, 20 minutes if you know what you're doing. And so I'm just wondering how they could turn this into a full length film. But I've actually heard it's really good. Like it premiered at the Cannes Film Festival. It got really good reviews. It's definitely one of the more acclaimed video game adaptations ever made. And I'm just so curious to see how they take that little premise and turn it into a full length film, and apparently a really good one. Then we've got a new movie by Jody Hill called Famous, the director of The Foot Fist Way and Observe and Report. This is the first film he's directed that he hasn't also written. Zac Efron plays two roles in it, a famous movie star and then a guy who looks exactly like the movie star and who uses that to, get stuff and further his own agenda. Bill Pullman's in it. That's cool. More people need to hire Bill Pullman. Then we got a new movie by J.J. Abrams, The Great Beyond. This is his first original movie since Super 8 in 2011. Since then, he's only done, he's done Star Trek movies, he's done Star Wars movies, so this is the first film since Super 8 where it's his own original idea. And I really liked Super 8, so I'm curious to see, what he's able to do when he's, when it's an idea that originates with him. It's a sci-fi movie. J.J. Abrams is never going to reveal anything about his plots until the movie comes out, which is actually refreshing. I like that. But we know it has Glenn Powell, Jenna Ortega, Emma Mackey, Samuel L. Jackson, Sophie Okonedo, and Merritt Wever in it. And yeah, it should be interesting potentially. Then we've got a movie which is it's going to be great. you know, this is maybe the movie on this entire list I'm the most confident about loving. And it's Godzilla Minus Zero. It is a sequel to Godzilla Minus One, which was fantastic. It's by the same writer, director, and effects supervisor. It'll probably be out in November. Hasn't been totally confirmed, but I cannot wait. Then we've got a new movie by Nicholas Winding Refn, Her Private Hell, which, it's about time because he's done some TV and stuff, but this is his first movie since The Neon Demon, which was 10 years ago, came out in 2016. It's got Sophie Thatcher, Charles Melton, and Diego Calva from Babylon. And he hasn't talked about the plot beyond saying it'll be something groovy, which is a very Nicholas Winding Refn thing to say. All right, then we got a new Danny Boyle movie, Ink, based on a play about Rupert Murdoch buying the British newspaper The Sun. Rupert Murdoch's going to be played by Guy Pearce. The guy from The Sun is going to be Jack O'Connell, and then Claire Foy is also going to be in it. Um, yeah, it seems like it's based on a play. It seems like it's going to be very theatrical. It's just going to have like a couple of characters. It's going to be very dialogue driven. Might be interesting. All right, then we got a new movie by Peter Farrelly called I Play Rocky, which is about um, the writing and production of the film Rocky. This guy, Anthony Ippolito, who played Al Pacino in that miniseries about The Godfather, is playing Sylvester Stallone in this. It's also got Stefan James, Matt Dillon, Toby Kebbell, Tracy Letts, and Joe Duplass. And nobody told Sylvester Stallone about it. They just said that, he read about it in entertainment news like everybody else, but apparently he's not mad about it or like gonna sue them or anything. So, maybe that means it's a decent script that he approves of, at least in some capacity. Then we've got Musk, a new documentary by Alex Gibney, who did Enron, the Smartest Guys in the Room, and Taxi to the Dark Side. I tried to find the stupidest looking picture of Elon Musk I possibly could. He was apparently not interviewed for this movie, and he said that it would probably be a hit piece. And then Alex Gibney tweeted at him and said, "How would you know?" So that's good. They're fighting even before the movie comes out. So it should be a good time. Uh, Jeremy Saulnier, or Saulnier, however the fuck you pronounce it, is putting out a new movie called October. I'm gonna pronounce it Saulnier. That's the fancy French way to pronounce it. October is described as a Halloween set horror action thriller film. It's got Corey Michael Smith, who I didn't know, but I guess he played the Riddler on the Gotham TV show. It's got Chase C. Sui Wonders. I don't quite know how to pronounce her name, but she's from the studio. She's really good on the studio. Sophie Wilde, who was in Talk to Me. So a bunch of kind of up and coming actors who definitely have a lot of potential. It's also got Stephen Root and Imogen Poots, who was in Green Room, which was a fantastic movie if you haven't seen it. It was made under the working title Mustache, and I wish they'd kept that name. I think that's a much more interesting name than October, and it's going to be put out by A24. Then we got a new movie by Adam Wingard, Onslaught. It's his return to horror after making those Godzilla and Kong movies. So if you don't know Adam Wingard, he made films like You're Next. He made The Guest. He made the live action version of Death Note. He made the Blair Witch reboot. So this is apparently it's about a mother living in a trailer park who uses her skills to protect her loved ones from a threat that escaped a secret military base while mercenaries try to contain it. It has Adria Arjona from Andor. It's also got Rebecca Hall, Michael Biehn, Alex Pereira, who is a UFC fighter. It's got Eric Wareheim and Reginald VelJohnson, who I'm super excited. The guy from Family Matters or Family Ties, whichever one he was. I get those confused. But the guy from Die Hard, the cop from Die Hard. It's like I never see that guy in movies, so I'm super excited to see him in an Adam Wingard movie. And it also has Dan Stevens in it, which Adam Wingard and Dan Stevens made The Guest together, which was like one of the highlights of both of their careers. That's an awesome movie. And he's playing a German scientist in this, which reminds me of that role he played in Cuckoo a little bit, and he was super fun in that movie. So yeah, this is one of the ones I'm probably most looking forward to because, I'm glad Adam Wingard is getting back to what he does best, and the cast is really strange and cool. Then we have potentially a second movie by Jonah Hill called Outcome, and of the two, this is definitely the one I'm more interested in. It has Keanu Reeves playing a fallen movie star being extorted with the release of a potentially damaging video, and it's got a big cast. It's got uh, Keanu Reeves. Oh, you know what? What was this is very unprofessional, but I didn't write this down. The name of Keanu Reeves' character in this was really good. I can't believe I didn't write it down. Let me look it up. Hang on. Jonah Hill Outcome. I can do this. Come on. Um, yeah, Reef Hawk. His name is Reef Hawk, which is pretty badass. But it's got Jonah Hill in it. It's got Cameron Diaz. It's got Matt Bomer. It's got David Spade, Laverne Cox, Roy Wood Jr., and it's got Martin Scorsese not playing himself, playing a character. So very interesting and strange cast. And it's probably going to go straight to Apple TV. Then we got a new movie by Brad Bird, a new animated film that he's not making with Pixar for the first time in a while. He's making it with Skydance Animation. And it's called Ray Gun. It's about Raymond Gunn, the last human private detective in a futuristic world inhabited by humans and aliens. It's supposed to be like a neo-noir sci-fi action movie. And what I'm excited about mostly is that it stars John Ratzenberger, who, if you didn't know, he's in pretty much every Pixar film, but he usually just has like these tiny little parts. Like they usually just put him in there as a cameo. So the fact that he gets to be the lead in this is just, I think that's really nice. And it's also got Michael Giacchino coming back to do the music, which Michael Giacchino always goes super hard on his scores for Brad Bird movies. So I think this will be a, a really enjoyable film. Then we've potentially got a second movie by Matt Johnson, Tony, which is a biopic of Anthony Bourdain with Dominic Sessa from The Holdovers in it. It's also got Antonio Banderas, Emilia Jones, and Halkias, Stavro Halkias. He played like that weird cop guy in Begonia. I think he's also a stand-up. This is the first film that Matt's directing that he didn't also write. And normally I'm not a huge biopic guy, but I'm curious because you know it's Dominic Sessa's follow-up to The Holdovers. Maybe he's been in something else that I haven't seen, but he showed a ton of potential in that movie. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he'll do with another really big role like this especially a person who is so widely known. Well, most of us have seen lots of footage of Anthony Bourdain, so it's gonna be a demanding part. And I'm also comforted by the fact that Matt Johnson's last movie Blackberry was technically a biopic, and it was fantastic. So I think he can do it. Then we've got potentially a new Martin McDonagh movie, his first movie since Banshees of Inisherin. We know literally nothing about the plot. It's supposed to be a thriller. It's got a great cast with Sam Rockwell, John Malkovich, Parker Posey, Steve Buscemi, Tom Waits. Martin McDonagh always gets great cast together. And it's shot and scored by the same people who did Banshees of Inisherin. I mean, the score is by Carter Burwell, who I think has done all of Martin McDonagh's movies, one of my favorite film composers. They filmed it super fast, and I'm really excited to see it whenever it comes out. Oh, and I forgot to change the photo on the slide. Pretend this is a photo of Osgood Perkins. Osgood Perkins, who has made three films in the last 2 years. Longlegs, The Monkey and Keeper has another film coming out next year. It's called The Young People. It has Tatiana Maslany, who was also in the two movies he put out last year, as well as Johnny Knoxville, Heather Graham, Nicole Kidman, and Cush Jumbo. I don't know who Cush Jumbo is, but her name is just really fun to say. Um, and one thing that gives me confidence in this, because I really didn't like his last film, Keeper, very much, but I've noticed that he's a lot more reliable when he writes his films. He's only directed two films that he hasn't written. Gretel and Hansel and Keeper, and those have been the two films of his that I've seen that I really didn't like. So the fact that he's the writer and director of this gives me a little more confidence in it. And then we've got Wind River, the next chapter by Carrie Scogland. The only connection between it and Wind River is this guy. Apparently, this guy was in Wind River, but I don't really remember him. But he's coming back in the same role. And in this, he's playing a tracker who has to solve ritualistic murders on a reservation. Taylor Sheridan is not involved with this. It's barely a sequel to Wind River, and I'm very confused about why it exists and who was asking for this. Like I get, like brand appeal, that you want to tie it to an existing IP, but Wind River wasn't even like a very profitable movie or anything. Like it wasn't as widely seen as it should have been. So I'm just very confused that this is even a thing, and I'm probably not going to watch it, but I just wanted to bring your attention to it. Then we've got some movies that were on the list last year that still aren't out. Like we've got Taika Waititi's adaptation of Clara and the Sun. I think it finished filming quite a while ago, so when's it coming out? I want to see it. Then we've got potentially a second film by Nicholas Winding Refn, The Avenging Silence. And this one sounds more interesting to me. It's like a Yakuza movie, written by the people who wrote the Daniel Craig Bond films. So I want to see that. We got God the pictures from the ones last year are so much lower quality. I'm sorry about that. I should have fixed them. But then we've got potentially a second film from Travis Knight, Wildwood, his adaptation of the books by Colin Meloy from the Decemberists. We've got a new movie by Duncan Jones, Rogue Trooper, also an animated film based on a strip from a British anthology comic called 2000 AD, which is also where Judge Dredd came from. And then we've got this new movie, this like stoner comedy starring Pete Davidson by David Michôd, who did The Rover and The King. Wizards, which, I'm not convinced is ever going to come out, but prove me wrong, A24. All right. And that is it. Bye.